Moving right along, part 3 of Codename Rask. Here we go. The Cosmics. Each and every cosmic being throughout the entire cosmos were prone to characteristics of inherent duality. For example, every cosmic had a desire to be an all-pervading force to drive change in the universe, while at the same time being unequivocally elusive to those gears of change that they are affecting. Many other conditions of duality exist, but this is the most prevalent. The cosmic philosophy is best classified as old guard or traditional. Cosmics have well-defined families or core groups, and as the process is unclear, the language born of is used when new cosmic beings come into existence. As it happens with any new generation of life, the old guard philosophy is slowly sloughed away and customary mores are changed. One such taboo that was being chipped away at, like a master sculptor creating their magnum opus, was interacting with mortals. Young cosmics were finding the lives and the value held in individuals were riveting. Even the thrill of connection outweighed the stern words and lectures from cosmic parents and other family members. Cosmics such as the Mason, who were gifted with the power of crafting, created all 6 cosmic androids: the Aquan, the Bubblegum, Inferno, Lignius, Bijou, and Echo. All cosmics had at least one power, and many had several, the power of flight being very common. Usually cosmics were born into existence one at a time and into a family, much like human children. Rarely, cosmics were born as twins, and twins, of course, were more common to repeat in the same families. Twin cosmics were captivating and fascinating as they were known to have unique and exceedingly rare powers that doubled in strength and intensity when used in tandem. All cosmics lived happily in the vacuum of outer space, taking up residence throughout the heavens. Conflicts among the cosmics were rare because the price for exacting justice for immortal beings was terribly and decidedly punitive. The prison for cosmics was called the Feng Cell, which was located in the deepest, most noxious, and acidic region of the void of the great beyond. Cosmics who were sentenced to the Feng Cell were considered permanently banished. In order for a cosmic to be escorted to the Feng Cell, one must first obtain a contract for their imprisonment from the very reclusive, illustrious Wonkopotamus, who was not a cosmic, but he lived on a very interesting island planet. The price tag for this contract was no less than 100,000 cubic yards of stardust and one sealed box of a very special type of food called hog biscuits. It is to be noted that all cosmics, by some unique method, can generate new stardust. It is also to be noted that countless cosmic feuds ended in the swallowing of pride and truce handshakes and a lack of a box of sealed hog biscuits. An urban legend exists among the cosmics of a Feng Cell contract becoming voided and torn up because the box of hog biscuits had been previously opened. Since the cosmics did not have a standard legal system, lack of patience during due process can thwart the punishment. However, when completed correctly, the Feng Cell contract places not only the named cosmic in immediate peril, but everything in the surrounded vicinity as well. The reason for this were the agents driven the reason for this were the agents driven only by a singleness of purpose who execute Feng Cell contracts. The Furia. The Furia were all creatures from the void of the great beyond, and they were undead. The Furia were hellhounds that looked like they used to be Doberman Pinschers in real life, and were partly corporeal while being surrounded by swirling black smoke. Sections of the Furia's bodies that did appear real were glistening and glossy, like the sheen to what was left of their fur. Each had glowing green eyes. To summon the Furia, the sealed box of hog biscuits must be shaken and then administered to each Furia individually. Deviation from this simple process could yield catastrophic results. The Furia, their specialty were stealth, and they were in fact so adept at stealth that the Hellhounds could stay hidden indefinitely if they did not want to be found. As far as creatures from the void go in general, there were two classes, upper and lower. Lower void creatures were rabble, relying on strength in numbers and lacking any memorable powers or characteristics. Upper void creatures were always more powerful, with more specific skill sets. Furia were undoubtedly upper void creatures. At your leisure, please consider the highly unrealistic and half insane notion that one particularly driven individual would start a 13-year-long war with every upper void creature in a bid to usurp control of the void itself. Unless this person happened to have a sealed box of hog biscuits, they may never find or be likely to believe that the Furia even exist. So, however stealthy and elusive they may be, the large pack of Furia that call the void their home are indeed not a thing of fairy stories. In a few years' time, Lucas Green would even place his full faith in the reality and validity of the Furia. But today was not that day. Jonas Green was getting ready for work, and light from the dawning sun had not yet reached the horizon. While dressing himself, Jonas pulled a shirt from a hanger in the closet, which in turn caused his large tattoo across his back to ripple and wave over his shoulders and back and upper arms. Jonas's full back tattoo was a snow white dove that started at the base of his neck with the dove's head and went fully down to the small of his back where the dove's feet were inked. As Jonas pulled his arms through his shirt, it covered the broad tattoo flight feathers that stretched from each scapula down to his elbows. Co-workers often made cracking comments about Jonas's feather tattoos, which always elicited the same response from Jonas, a half smile and a nod. Lucas's mother, Callista Green, also had a large tattoo, but on her left leg, sprawling from the top arch of her foot and ending just before her knee. Callista's tattoo consisted of vines, flower blooms, several trees, and on her calf, an inked image of the rare corpse flower bloom. Since the parents' tattoos were so quotidian at this point, Lucas felt unstirred to ever get ink art for himself as an adult. Today was 7 years to the date since the class trip to the airfield and the high-speed sports car rides up and down the runways. In his mind's eye, Lucas could still clearly see that scrunched-up nose and warm smile of the tall brunette with whom he had shared the secret regarding his watch. Lucas's mind meandered lazily, and then he whispered softly, "Nah, that just sounds crazy." Lucas was now a sophomore in high school. Lucas was hot and cold about high school in general, the saving grace being the chemistry teacher, Mr. Outre. Mr. Outre was the most spirited and zealous teacher Lucas had ever met. Lucas latched on to Mr. Outre's teaching style of passion in learning and searching for truth. As all the kids took their seats in chemistry class, the tardy bell rang. The connected door to Mr. Outre's office burst open into the classroom, and the eccentric teacher stepped into the classroom wearing a hooded, full-body rodent costume. "Happy October 23rd to my 2A chemistry class," shouted Mr. Outre as the costumed rodent hood bounced on his head as he danced in front of the whole class. "Happy Mole Day," bounced Mr. Outre. "Who's ready to learn?" The pace of business at the diner was hopping faster than kangaroos at a family reunion. Today was the diner's 75th anniversary of being in business. Julie and all the other servers were bringing their full A game today, slinging coffee, hash, pancakes, and smiles to each and every customer. Presently, another server, Natalie, approached Julie. Natalie pulled her wildly frayed ponytail out and reset it while saying, "You have to talk to Stan. He will listen to you. See all these people? This kitchen cannot be slow. Not on the 75th. Come on, girl. Don't worry about it, Nat. I got it, said Julie. Bet, said Natalie. Julie pushed through the kitchen door, asking, Stanley, Mr. Cranky Butters. The cook froze in place and stared silently at Julie. Whoa. Hello? Said Julie. Hi, said the cook. Julie was not looking at Stan. Julie was looking at a 7-foot tall, iridescent purple and white octopus holding a pan and various utensils in its tentacles. Where is Stan? Asked Julie. Stan is quiet, said the octopus. Do you mean Stan is silent? Asked Julie. Oh no, I mean Stan quit, said the octopus. Bitchin', and you are? Asked Julie. Earl, said the octopus. Earl, you're going to help me fix this. Follow me. Grabbing a wooden spoon and an empty saucepot, Julie walked out into the middle of the floor of the diner while banging the pot loudly. Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boomed Julie amidst occupied tables. The diner, in commemoration of our 75th anniversary and also with constant cooperation with Roswell, New Mexico, we are pleased to introduce to you Earl the Octopus, your line cook from outer space. Earl slid through the kitchen doors and the customers exploded in cheers and applause. From across the floor, Julie and Natalie made eye contact, after which Natalie gave Julie a goofy, contorted smile. Julie loved it when accidents turned out favorably. At the foundry, the director knocked and without waiting entered the adjoining office of Lily and Lila Fox. How is our pet project? Asked the director. The original is on course, said Lily. However, the split is still lost, said Layla. The director allowed calm to wash over him, and he said, Let's see how deep these pockets really are, and if I can call in some very old favors. It would be a shame if we cannot recover the split. It may motivate the original to act up. In another scene, You wanted to see me, director? Asked Jane Rask. The director was staring out of the large glass French doors that led from his office to the mezzanine on the sprawling private garden. Agent Rask, said the director, I need your advice, if you would oblige an old fool. Sir? Jane asked, reeling back on her heels. I know what you're probably thinking. I'm the boss. The power dynamic usually goes the other way. The truth is, Agent, I respect your work, and by extension, I respect you as well. Agent Rask, I have this, highly sensitive situation, and every time I close in on tighter on a solution, a new frayed end wildly unravels. I fear my mind is vexed, Agent. Sir, said Jane, you just stated the solution to your own problem. I did, said the director. Of course, said Jane. You said every time I close in tighter, so stop that. Let go. Allow yourself to relax once in a while. The director's eyes grew wide as he turned to face Jane. Sir, I'm serious, said Jane. You're always working. When was the last time you took a day off or went on a vacation? Or felt joy? When was the last time you celebrated your birthday? My birthday? Said the director quizzically. You know, like a big party, cake, balloons, food, fireworks. Hell, I don't know, said Jane. Agent Rask, said the director, I think you just solved a handful of my problems all in one shot. Do you need anything? Anything at all? Just name it. Do you need more cars? And Jane chuckled while saying, No, sir, I have enough cars. One thing that never mind, it's probably dumb. Agent Rask, no request from you is ever taken lightly. Please name it and it will be yours. Jane twisted the toe of her shoe into the thick Persian rug and said, A blender for my kitchen? The director pressed a button on his desk, the desk intercom, and spoke. Lila, I need a top-of-the-line blender shipped to Agent Rask's residence by no later than tomorrow. Got it, boss, said Lila. Done, said the director. Thank you, said Jane. It is you that I have to thank, Agent Rask, said the director as he shook Jane's hand. Also, I will check into a birthday party. Expect big things. Smiling And again, thanking the director, Jane took her leave and walked out through Lily and Lila's office. Once out of the door and into the empty hallway, Jane said out loud, "Birthday party, my ass." Jane Rask was indeed a loyal and committed employee of the Foundry Inc. However, as Aquan Android, she truly answered to a higher authority. As time does, it passes far too quickly, and when you expect it to move slowly, and all business carries on as usual. Once a young boy, Lucas Green was now 19 years of age and home in Roswell on spring break from college. In the Green's kitchen, Callista was teaching Lucas the artful secrets of making pasta fagioli just right. "Here, Mom," said Lucas, "taste this. What do you think?" Callista tasted Lucas's spoon offering, and immediately her eyelids closed. The toes of her shoes turned inward, and she clasped her hands over her chest. Shocked, Lucas asked, "Is it really that good?" "Oh, my dear boy," said Callista, hugging Lucas. At the diner between Carlsbad and Roswell, Julie was taking care of 3 of her regulars. 3 agents from the Foundry, all men with fedoras and trench coats. Julie knew them only by their agent names, collectively known as the Number Agents, and individually known as Agents 1, 2, and 3. Agents 1 and 2 were roughly 5 foot 10 inches tall with generic features. Agent 3 was 6 feet 4 inches tall, always kept his face covered, and never spoke. The Number Agents were siblings. Julie sashayed up to the agent's table with a pot of coffee, saying, "I have real Colombian today." Cups were flipped upright, and the strong, pure, dark liquid was poured. "Wow," said Julie. "Someone smells flammable." Agent 1 raised his hand and said, "Hey, Julie, I have a joke for you." Rolling her eyes, Julie said, "Be still, my beating heart." "Okay, great," said one. "What did the pirate say on his 80th birthday?" Agent 3 silently shook his head. Julie looked at Agent 2, who said, "Don't look at me to save you." Julie exhaled, saying, "Okay, Agent 1, what did the pirate say on his 80th birthday?" Taking off his hat, Agent 1 blurted out, "Aye, matey." Julie tried unsuccessfully to stifle a laugh, which ended up coming out of her nose as she nearly dropped the pot of coffee. After recovering from a giggle fit, Julie labored in asking, "Everybody want their usual?" Lucas's Mars Mouse watch was resting on the nightstand in his bedroom. Lucas made note that everything was right with the world, as if everything was exactly as it should be. College was going swimmingly, his parents were both happy, and he felt accomplished, now knowing how to make a perfect pasta fagioli. As Lucas walked through the house toward the kitchen for a glass of water, Jonas and Callista were in the kitchen talking. As Lucas got his water and drank it quickly, after which he panted and smacked his lips, Callista gave Lucas an aching smile, the one that all mothers know. "What?" said Lucas. "Nothing, dear," said Callista. "Lucas," said Jonas. "Yeah, Dad?" "Why aren't you wearing your watch?" said Jonas. "Dad," said Lucas, "it's a little kid's watch." Jonas exhaled. "Son, that watch..." Lucas overstepped and took a very loud tone with his father, saying, "That watch will what, Dad? Protect me from the boogeyman? Turn time back? You cannot seriously tell me that you believe that this is real. My whole life, everything is some giant secret, and I'm constantly the butt of the joke. Is my real name even Lucas? What is even real?" Jonas and Callista stood up from the table. Lucas had seen this look on Jonas's face only once before, when in junior high, Lucas had flushed a lit cherry bomb with a waterproof fuse down a toilet in high school. This time was different, however. Lucas could see into Jonas's eyes, and they appeared as if they were glowing bright orange. "Jonas," said Callista, "let me talk to him." Now looking directly at Lucas, Callista ordered, Lucas, shoes on, watch on, outside, now.